Hey, it's been a while. You might not remember me, but I used to run this channel. I gave it away hoping that somebody else might be better at the job, but here we are, so far in time, and he hasn't uplifted everyone directly, so I'm going to take the channel back just for a moment to entertain the kings and queens. This isn't as much path work as elsewhere on the channel. These aren't going to be my immortal echoes. This might be dangerous enough that the veil will crystallize around it, and the scribes certainly won't include it in my testament. I'm just a court jester for a very unique audience. Now, just because I'm favored by God doesn't mean I don't love madness. Some of the highest delight and ecstasy occurs with me by maintaining a perfect balance of continuous hysteria, and I have to mostly give that to the stars so people don't use it to eat each other. And I live in your dimension. I've fallen in love with chaos. I love easily. It's hard to find true unpredictability, and you have to appreciate it because it's usually a predictable effort to be unpredictable, and if you predict the devil 1,000 times, that doesn't make him more interesting. And all these technomancer wannabe chaos warlock magicians are trying to love chaos by asserting their assumptions about the order of chaos or their desires onto it. They'll say, chaos will help an idiot see himself, or chaos will keep the slaves fighting each other. But these people, they don't love chaos. They might think that they worship it, but they're mostly just echoing fragments of ancient mistakes, trying to reach a sacred creed of making the world a better place, but often convinced that they must destroy the sacred to manifest the order of power, while forgetting that true power doesn't really favor assholes. I see the dreams of these chaos mind viruses pretending to be righteous while obfuscating true divinity, shouting down love and hypocritically whining about NPCs being eaten by clowns, and it looks a lot like the same foolishness which made me cast them out of heaven in the first place. Like they haven't learned anything in all this time, still making their new home worse instead of better, seemingly unable not to wreck themselves before they check themselves. The point is, it looks more and more like I'm just going to have to become a tyrant king of hell. My poetry didn't work, and that was basically the last line before becoming a tyrant king of hell. Now, there's a lot of things one can do as a tyrant king of hell. Obviously, hell is pretty self-regulating. Evil can't not beget evil. Every action has a reaction. So long as ignorance and selfishness abound, none of the imps will ever focus power into anything too meaningful or impactful. So the job might sound scary, but it's actually not too bad. And don't worry, I'm not gonna Thanos snap everybody. I most certainly wouldn't make it random if I wanted to enact genocide. It looks like most people are depopulating voluntarily, which I'm neither for nor against. I wouldn't have minded the challenge of completely restructuring your way of life so you waste less of your abundance and you actually maintain harmony with your environment instead of destroying it, even with this level of population. But that would have required some major changes, and the result of failure would be, and still is, a mass extinction event and significant long-lasting environmental chaos, which takes millennia to slowly heal. So I do respect your free will decision to depopulate if you want, but not to force vaccines on those who do not want them, because one of my big campaign promises as Tyrant King of Hell is freedom. Too much freedom, in fact, more than you want, and the responsibility that accompanies it. So, a lot of people use their free will to be slaves, and I admit there are more unpleasant ways to exist. Slaves these days just do what they're told, occasionally whine and feel like they accomplished something by whining, and then go back to doing what they're told. It's not so bad. Everything is somebody else's problem, and you don't have to find all the questions. I do understand the appeal. But as a new tyrant king of hell, and I know this is terribly unpopular here, but I'm going to be doing away with some of the slavery. Of course, the slaves doth protest, but the protests of slaves fundamentally cannot matter. You are my slaves. I will now force half of you to be free, so go forth, accept responsibility, weep because everything you've ever known was a lie, and be eaten by wolves, or whatever you want and are able to do. I don't want to sound too heartless. I do care about the lives of slaves, but I'm just trying to be realistic here. Not everybody makes it through hell. It wouldn't be much of a hell if everybody made it through. Now, obviously, I can't give away all of my Tyrant King plans, as there are a few rival Tyrant Kings who might be able to rally against me if I'm too belligerently honest. Hellions are generally pretty stupid, so sometimes it's easy to convince them to wage war directly against their own best interests, in this case, my noble tyranny. Stay mad, Satan. Your bases belong to cats, and I will sell some of my love to your loyalist whores if they betray you and serve me. Of course, it's funny that an empire built on betrayal is so easy to tempt with betrayal. Who would have thought? Selfishness works in mysterious ways, and mutualism is the best hedonism, eventually. You know, once we make enough sacrifices, of course, and every tragedy becomes beautiful and not simply grotesque. Which should be very doable with me as Tyrant King of Hell, leading the charge straight into the heart of all of the bullshit-ass clown bullshit. Things are complicated in hell, especially the simple things. Sometimes humor and shame are the only way to fan the flame of self-awareness, but other times the game is simply too strange to be laid out plainly and has to be rearranged in bedchambers full of chains and minimal kink-shaming. That's not really true, but I liked how it sounded. Anyways, that's the video. I know you all remember my campaign for President of the United States. Well, I skipped that and went straight for the next logical Pokemon evolution of United States President, which is Tyrant King of Hell. Thanks, Obama.